US supports for expansion of UN Security Council, but opposing expansion of veto power to new members, and supporting the veto power to remain to the existing members, permanent members like US, France, UK, China, and Russia. But Ramaphosa said this is nothing because we will be treated as second-class citizens. If you want Africa to be on the table, we need also to have the same right like the existing permanent members. So it looks like Africa, we are going to have those 2 permanent seats on the UN Security Council, but without a veto power. So they have holding veto power to African countries. Concerning the modality, which countries will have these 2 permanent seats, Ramaphosa said it will depend on the decisions made by African Union. So African Union will decide which countries or which modality these 2 permanent seats will be distributed in the continent. Yesterday you heard from President Kagame suggested that maybe 1 seat must be held by the African Union and other seats must be given to countries that will be rotating after a certain time. But all in all, myself, I doubted the issue of African Union because I see African Union has no territory, has no government, has no army. So look, America has territory, has army, has nuclear power. The same to UK, the same to France, the same to China, the same to Russia. So even Africa, we need the representative that has African army. When we want to bring peace somewhere, we send our army, not as an individual countries. So that's why I said and I suggested that for African Union to have this permanent seat in the UN Security Council, first of all, let us reform our African Union. Let us give African Union the power. Let us give African Union the territory. Let us give African Union army. So we need single army. That's why we are talking about the United Africa. Now you see, we have given these 2 seats. And of course, as I said yesterday, this seat is going to divide Africa. And they're going to increase competitions among powerful countries in the continent like South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt. So, you see, but if we are so united, we are going out as Africa, and if maybe we are united as with African Union, we have single army, we have single leader who can command other leaders, I think it will be better. It will be better. So, but all in all, let us wait and see what African Union will decide, what member countries of the continent will decide. But this needs an urgent meeting. We need our leaders to come together, to sit down, to find the modality in which Africa will be represented in the UN Security Council. When we talk about the African Union, you find there's some members, those have been suspended, like Burkina Faso, Gabon, Niger, I think even Mali, was suspended after the coup. But we have seen the young leader like Captain Ibrahim Traore, what he's doing. So due to political issues, you can find that even the permanent seat cannot go to Burkina Faso. But just imagine if Captain Ibrahim Traore is going to the UN Security Council, what he can say about Africa. But I know this permanent seat will go to those who are friends of US because US is supporting. And if you are friends of Russia or you are friends of China, you will not maybe given this permanent seat. Because I'm just assuming myself, what if Niger and Burkina Faso are going to have these 2 permanent seats for 5 years? Will America accept it? I think America will not accept it. Because they want someone who is listening them who is being dictated by them, but they don't want someone who can rejecting their agendas. So the man like Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the countries such as Burkina Faso, they are not happy with those kind of leadership. So that's why I'm saying this is going to divide us. What we need are the people of Africa as the continent. We need first to come together. We need to unite and to go out there with one vision, one mission. And that's why I said in the previous, when the president of Sierra Leone, Mr. Mahada Bio, announced this statement of Africa demanding 2 permanent seats, I said we don't need 2 permanent seats. We need only 1 seat for Africa. If we are so united, we have single army, we have one leader, we have our own currency, we can go out there and say we want 1 seat for us. When it comes to Africa, we are going to say for Africa. But to say African Union, you know, all of us that African Union is sponsored and funded by the European Union, funded by US. So automatically we are under we have been held by these countries or the West, those who are funding us. So we need our African Union that is funded by Africans. We need African Union that is representing African people. So not this African Union that we have today that has no territory, has no army. Look, for instance, we have failed to bring peace in Sudan. We have failed to bring peace in Sahel. We have failed to bring peace in DRC. Somalia, Al-Shabaab are there. In Nigeria, we have Boko Haram there. In Libya, people are dying. Our brothers and sisters have been sold like commodities there. We have failed to bring peace. So because African Union has no army, has no power. And sometimes you find even our soldiers who are participating in African Union mission are sponsored by the Europeans, are sponsored by America. We Africans, we are not sponsoring our missions, our projects. So we need to reform our African Union to have African Union that is sponsored by Africans. We have those ability. We have resources. Let us sell our minerals to China, to Russia, and get money. Then sponsor our missions, sponsoring our projects. We are talking about Inga Dam for more than 60 years. We don't even try to implement. We are talking about many issues, but we are not implementing. So, kings and queens, those are just my opinions. I would like also to hear from you. What do you think about these issues? Because it looks like it is going to divide African countries, especially those who are competing like Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. So, those are just my opinions. See you next time. Thank you.